At the end of the 20th century, the world was entirely different, and perhaps this is where the true magic of that time lies. As we immerse ourselves in this period, we step into a world where time seems to slow down, and life feels less rushed, yet more fulfilling. In the first quarter of the 21st century, many of us feel an increasing sense of dissatisfaction, overwhelmed by the constant stream of information, digital noise, and the relentless pursuit of faster and better. In contrast, at the close of the 20th century, life moved at a slower pace, and while opportunities were more limited, there was a certain charm in it. The speed of life and digital silence. When you step into the late 20th century, it's like crossing a threshold into another world. Time seems to slow down, and silence becomes your new companion. The internet, as we know it today, didn't exist. There were no endless news feeds, chats, or notifications that pull you away from the present. Instead, there was more room for reflection, for real encounters with people, for genuine conversations that weren't interrupted every time someone sent a message. There was no constant need to check social media, watch the news every hour, or update your status. People could lose themselves in books, listen to music on old vinyl records or cassettes, and watch movies, not feeling pressured by the constant rush of technology pushing them to be online all the time. The absence of pressure and accelerated progress in the late 20th century, the world was not consumed by the relentless race for success that we experience today. Technology was just beginning to develop, and life was still relatively calm. People didn't feel the constant pressure to achieve career success or meet ever-growing expectations. There was no culture of continuous self-improvement or unattainable standards. It was a time when it was perfectly acceptable to start a career later or make a mistake without falling into the digital trap. There were fewer alarming signals about the need to keep up with every new trend to ensure you didn't fall behind. People could simply live without constantly comparing themselves to others, which is often the case today through social media. Technology, but without total control. Though technology in the late 20th century wasn't as advanced as it is today, it didn't mean that it didn't serve a purpose. The internet was just starting to make its way into homes, mobile phones were a rarity, and computers were a significant achievement. Yet, what was remarkable was that technology didn't dominate every moment of life. There were no constant notifications, no pressure to always be connected. You could enjoy time alone, undisturbed by the outside world. Media and leisure culture, televisions, cassettes, compact discs, these were not just devices, but a whole culture. Many people spent their evenings watching movies or listening to music without the fear of missing out on the latest social media posts. Movies and music were experiences that could last for hours, rather than serving merely as background noise. Though the choices were limited, this was often an advantage. You learned to appreciate what you had, rather than rushing after the next fleeting sensation. Radio and television were the harbingers of cultural eras, presenting popular songs and shows that became an inseparable part of everyday life. There were those special moments when you turned off the lights, picked up a book, or gathered around the table with friends and simply enjoyed the time without distractions. Simplicity and comfort in everyday life. Life at the end of the 20th century was simpler. While modern technology and devices create an illusion of a more comfortable world, in reality, we have become dependent on them. Daily life was less complicated. You could meet friends in a cafe without worrying about how quickly to post a photo online. A simple walk through the city or a trip to the store felt like an event, full of real emotions rather than a subtle sense of urgency. The world was changing, and many of the technological advancements of that time might seem outdated now. But therein lay its charm. There were no instant pleasures, but there was far more time to truly experience the moment and appreciate it. Conclusion: life at the end of the 20th century wasn't without its flaws, but it held much that we're missing today: less hustle, more personal space, and greater value in simplicity and real moments. Moving back to that time is like rediscovering the delicate balance we lost in our constant drive to stay connected and keep up with success. The late 20th century taught us to savor the present rather than chasing after fleeting trends.